This Friday was the longest Friday ever. It rained all day. It rained on the Stewart's swimming pool. It rained on the Kavanagh kids' trampoline. It rained on David and Myrtle Gunter's treehouse and the big old gum tree on their front lawn right next to the letterbox. It rained on Big Adam's pet possum called Monday that was happily nibbling on a bit of apple. And it rained on Tia, Michael and Carl's cardboard box waka. It rained, and it rained, and it rained, and it rained. It rained like it would never stop. There wasn't a bit of blue sky to be seen, just rain, and rain, and more rain. It wasn't pouring, it was gushing. By the time Tia, Michael and Carl had slushed and sloshed and splashed and sploshed their way home, it had stopped raining, but it was nearly too late for their adventure. "Oh no, look at our waka!" cried Tia. The rain had made it all soggy and one side had ripped and fallen over. They worked fast. Tia ran inside the house and came out with a big roll of sticky tape and a plastic bottle. She wrapped the sticky tape round and round and round the fridge box until their waka was in one piece again. And the plastic bottle, well, we'll find out about that a little bit later on. But for now, Tia slid the plastic bottle into her back pocket and they carefully stepped into their waka. "So, you thought you'd come back for more then, eh?" said the grasshopper pirate, the one with the patch over one eye, a hook for a hand and a flea on his left shoulder, squawking, "Wah! Polly, what a cracker! Polly, what a cracker! Wah! Whereabouts is our diamond, you pesky little boys?" The insect pirates took a step towards Michael and Carl took a step back. "We haven't got your diamond." "What diamond? I don't even know how to play cards," Michael said nervously. The insect pirates took another step towards Michael and Carl took another step backwards. "You know very well what diamond I'm talking about. It's the world's biggest diamond. Pretty hard to miss. It's big and shiny," said the grasshopper pirate, the one with the eye patch over one eye, the hook for a hand and a flea on his left shoulder, squawking, "Wah! Polly, what a cracker! Polly, what a cracker! Wah! If we had your diamond, we'd give it to you, honestly, but we don't, so we can't," said Carl, very nervously. But still, the pirates took yet another step towards them, and Carl and Michael took another step backwards, and without even seeing where they were going, whoosh, bang, whiz, they'd fallen into exactly the same hole they had fallen into before when they discovered Wilhelmina's family in the underground cave. It was still dark. It was still a little bit scary, but this time they knew what to expect. Down, down, down they fell into the deep, dark cave. "Here it comes!" yelled Michael, knowing exactly what was coming next. Splash went Michael, splash went Carl as they landed in the huge underground river, and just like before, the river rushed them downwards faster and faster. "This is still much better than the A&P show!" Carl shouted as the river narrowed down into the little gap in the rocks, making a really fast water slide. Whoosh! They were shot down the slide. "This is much better than a hydro slide!" shouted Michael as they were thrown over a waterfall and back into the great big underwater cave with Wilhelmina's family. This time they knew exactly where they were.
That was better than the very best ride at the A&B show. It was better, much better than the merry-go-round and better than the Ferris wheel. It was better than a roller coaster ride, better than the bungee. It was better than the ghost train and mirror maze. It was better than the hurricane.
As Michael and Carl splashed down into the big dark underground cave with the rest of Wilhelmina's family, or pod, Wilhelmina was towing Tia in their waka past the outside of the cave. "Shh," said Tia. "What is it?" asked Wilhelmina the whale. "I thought I heard something coming from behind those rocks." Wilhelmina and Tia sat very still, floating in the water by a big group of rocks. Inside the cave, Michael and Carl were telling the rest of the whales what was going on. "The insect pirates think Wilhelmina has got their diamond," said Michael. "They've got you locked up in this cave because they knew Wilhelmina would come looking for you," said Carl. "And when she does, they're going to lock her up too until she gives them back their diamond," said Michael. It was becoming very clear to everyone. "Shh," said Tia. There it is again. I can hear talking from behind these rocks. It sounds like Michael and Carl. They both held their breath and listened very carefully. And from behind the rocks, they heard something. It's them, said Wilhelmina. How do we get them out? As I've said in the past, Tia was very good at plans, and right now she had a cunning one. She took the diamond off Wilhelmina and shoved it in her pocket. I'm gonna get the door to this cave open, said Tia. But you've got to let Carl and Michael and your pod know you're out here. Wilhelmina knew what she had to do. Tell your pod to stay as close to the entrance as possible. Tell Michael and Carl to stay under the water slide where they first came into the cave. And whatever you do, don't go anywhere. Wait here till I get back. And Tia was off. She was up to something. She jumped out of the waka and swam ashore. Wilhelmina knew exactly how to tell her family what they needed to know. She dipped under the water and started talking to them in whale language. It's a beautiful sound, but all those sounds mean something to whales, and Wilhelmina was telling her family of Tia's cunning plan. Wilhelmina's family was so glad to hear her voice again, and Wilhelmina was just glad to have found them. Everyone was ready. Wilhelmina stayed exactly where she was. Wilhelmina's family, or pod, stayed as close to the cave entrance as possible. Michael and Carl had climbed up on some rocks by the water slide where they first came into the cave. Tia was off to find the pirates. She ran through the bush, up over the hills, through streams and swamps, through flax bushes and tree ferns, past big kauri trees that stretched way up into the sky. She came to the little river with the rickety old swing bridge, and it was just hanging there, all broken and useless. But further down the stream she found an old tree that had fallen across the river, and she crossed it. She ran and ran and ran as fast as she could until she came to that familiar track they had first walked down when they first met the insect pirates. She slowed down a little. She didn't want them to see her. She crept up very slowly. "Right, you lot!" said the grasshopper pirate, the one with the eye patch over one eye, the hook for the hand, and the flea on the shoulder, squawking, "Wah! Polly want a cracker! Polly want a cracker! Wah! Right, you lot, let's find this pesky little girl and get our diamond back!" Tia had a little grin on her face as she walked straight into their little insect pirate camp. The unladylike ladybird stopped burping and belching, yelling and laughing. The termite stopped tap dancing. The sandfly stopped singing. The ants stopped their acrobatics. The wetters stopped wobbling. Even the glowworm stopped glowing. And the grasshopper pirate, the one with the eye patch over one eye, the hook for a hand, and the flea on his shoulder, squawking, "Wah! Polly want a cracker! Polly want a cracker! Wah!" just stared at her. He couldn't believe his luck. "Well, what have we here?" said the grasshopper pirate, the one with the eye patch over one eye, a hook for a hand, and a flea on his left shoulder, squawking, "Wah! Polly want a cracker! Polly want a cracker!" He had a huge grin on his face. He wasn't quite sure why Tia was smiling too. "Are you looking for something?" said Tia, smiling a smile that made the grasshopper pirate worried. "I'm looking for the world's biggest diamond, and I think I know where it is," said the grasshopper pirate, the one with the eye patch over one eye, a hook for a hand, and a flea on his left shoulder, squawking, "Wah! Polly want a cracker! Polly want a cracker! Wah!" And the pirates took a step towards Tia. Tia took a step backwards and took the diamond out of her pocket. "This wouldn't be the diamond you're looking for, would it?" asked Tia, and she held the diamond up for the pirates to see. "That's our diamond! Now give it back or we'll send you down the hole with the rest of your friends," said the grasshopper pirate, the one with the eye patch over one eye, a hook for a hand, on a flea on his left shoulder, squawking, "Wah! Polly want a cracker! Polly want a cracker! Wah!" And the pirates took another step towards Tia. Tia saw the hole in the ground behind her, and she knew it was the hole that led to the underground cave, and she knew what to do. She threw the diamond in the hole and ran like she'd never run before. Now we all know pirates are greedy, and these pirates even more so. They all jumped down the hole after that precious diamond. First the grasshopper pirate, the one with the eye patch over one eye, a hook for a hand, and a flea on his shoulder, squawking, "Wah! Polly want a cracker! Polly want a cracker! Wah!"
Then came the unladylike ladybirds, the tap-dancing termites, the singing sandflies, the acrobatic ants and the wobbling wetters. Even the glowworms all jumped into the hole after the world's biggest diamond. Tia ran back through the bush, over the trees, across the river, past the giant Cody that stretched way up into the sky, past the tree ferns, past the flax bushes, back through the swamps and the streams, over the hills and the bush and the rocks, and back to where Wilhelmina was waiting patiently. Tell your family as soon as the cave doors open, swim as fast as they can, Tia told Wilhelmina, and tell Carl and Michael to catch the diamond when it comes out. Wilhelmina did as she was told, and everything was ready. Inside the cave, Carl and Michael were waiting. Then whoosh, out popped the world's biggest diamond. Carl caught it, fumbled it, juggled it and dropped it. But Michael caught it before it was lost in the water, and they swam over to the whales. Then out popped the grasshopper pirate, the one with a patch over one eye, a hook for a hand and a flea on his shoulder, squawking, "Wah! Only want a cracker! Only want a cracker! Wah!" Then out popped the unladylike ladybird, followed closely by the tap-dancing termites, the singing sandflies, the acrobatic ants and the wobbling wetters, and then finally they were all followed out by those glowing worms who lit the cave up with their glowing tails. The insect pirates were mad as very mad people on a particularly angry day. The insect pirates didn't like being in deep, dark, damp caves at all. "Right, you lot," said the grasshopper pirate, the one with the eye patch over one eye, a hook for a hand and a flea on his left shoulder, squawking, "Wah! Polly want a cracker! Polly want a cracker! Wah!
Get that cave door open and get that diamond, quick smart.
One of the unladylike ladybirds had an automatic garage door opener in its hand. What do you mean that's unusual? There's nothing wrong with an unladylike ladybird having an automatic garage door opener in its hand. Anyway, the unladylike ladybird pressed the button on the automatic garage door opener, and the big cave walls creaked and groaned and slowly started opening. When the doors were open, the whales swam free as fast as they could past Wilhelmina and Tia in the waka. Michael and Carl swam up to Tia in the waka and jumped in. "Let's get out of here!" yelled Michael.
What are you waiting for?
yelled Carl as the pirates got closer and closer. Just when Carl and Michael thought the insect pirates were about to get them again, Tia pulled out the plastic bottle from her back pocket. It was a plastic bottle filled with insect repellent. Insects don't like insect repellent. In fact, they hate it. As Tia sprayed and sprayed the insect repellent into the cave, the insects went crazy. "Quickly close the cave doors," said the insect pirate, the one with an eye patch over one eye, a hook for a hand and a flea on his left shoulder, coughing. The big cave doors closed tightly, and Wilhelmina towed Tia, Carl and Michael in their waka back to where Tia's pod was waiting. As they were floating away from the island, you could just hear in the background,
Polly doesn't like it in here. Polly doesn't like it in here. Ah!
They were all safe now. "Thank you very much for finding my pod," said Wilhelmina. "Thank you very much for getting us out of that horrible cave," said one of the big blue whales. And before they could say goodbye to their pod of friends, Tia, Carl and Michael all fell out of their cardboard box waka. The sticky tape had finally given way, and it fell to pieces in a big soggy mess in Tia's backyard. Tia's mum was hanging out the washing. "Ah, there you are. I hope you're going to clean that mess up," said Tia's mum. "Yes, Mum," said Tia, and all three started cleaning up the soggy old cardboard and packed it all into the rubbish bin. Underneath the cardboard box waka, underneath old banana peels, underneath the bones of an old roast chicken, sat the world's biggest diamond. How about that, eh?
"Come on, Wilhelmina, you'll get lost again."